Hello, 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 hello. My name is Asherah Rose, and welcome to my very, very unique PhD research proposal. Thank you, ancestors, for the download that you've just given me, and I fully am aware that you are watching this video. Okay, very much joy. Thank you very much for the download that you just gave me. To all you humanoid or artificial clones, participating characters called human beings on this planet Earth, I am doing a research study into DID, dissociative identity disorder / psychosis, versus conscious expansion. Okay, and I almost feel like, I don't know, I almost feel, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel a little bit played by the celestial beings and the ancestors, but it's okay because I'm going to explain what I mean further. So where am I? Hospital. I'm strapped up to this device. So yesterday, a tick had buried itself in between my toe there. Yeah? But I didn't realize it was a tick. Alright, I just was experiencing some pain. So this is me in the hospital. And this is the hospital bed that I'm on, and I'm in a hospital gown. Yeah? With why I'm in the hospital. So I'm in the hospital because, well, first of all, I went on a walk through the jungle with two people. A lady called Caroline, who's part of the True Retreat, who's part of my Shamanic teachers group, and a guy called Marco, who is from America, who we just literally met here. Yeah, we met him near the hotel, and it was a coincidence. Well, it's not a coincidence, but he happened to be coming to the same healing centre as us. So he jumped in the minibus with us and we all came here. Now we've been here a few days experimenting with plant-based medicine like ayahuasca and St. Pedro. Yesterday was St. Pedro Day. So we had St. Pedro, which is a hallucinative medication, plant-based medicine that you get from a particular cactus. Yeah? And we had it at 8 o'clock for breakfast, and it lasted around 12 hours. All right, so really 8 till 8, it should have finished, okay? Now, I'd been taking the last quarter of my St. Pedro later on in the evening, so I think the last time I took it was between 7 p.m. and 7:30. And the reason why I did that is because I was planning to stay in my room that night and just do some meditation with the ancestors, okay? But this is what happened. Earlier on in the day, Caroline, me, and Marco went for a walk in the woods, in the jungle, yeah? We saw some amazing things, tiny little frogs, bugs, insects. We even came across blood red mushrooms. So you see the red on this phone? That's what the colour of the bright was brighter than that actually. But blood red mushrooms, never seen anything like it before. Tracy said you can get green ones, yellow ones, whatever. How fascinating. She said if you see those kind of Muslims, if you see those kind of mushrooms, then most likely the edible psychedelic mushrooms are nearby. But whatever. Anyway, we've gone into the jungle. We've had a fantastic walk. Some of the guys that work here, the authentic Peruvians, they went ahead of us and was using a machete to chop down the jungle to make the path a little bit easier to follow. Anyway, when we've come out the jungle, we've jumped in the water, we've had a bit of fun, then we've got out of the water. Caroline and Marco's gone to take a shower, and I've done some meditation. While I was in the jungle, one of the big trees in the jungle gifted me a leaf. He says to me he wanted me to wee on him to mix my DNA codes, because I've been pouring my wee in all the trees more or less on the land, not all of them, but around my property and where they had told me to pour it. I feel like I got something white on my lip, but it's not. Anyway, this big tree, as I pulled down my knickers to wee, because Marco and Caroline was waiting a little bit further up for me, that's when the two Peruvian guys turned up. So it was half knickers up, half knickers down. So them lot was laughing, all three of us was laughing because I got caught in the act, innit? So obviously I didn't wee. Instead, when I turned around, the tree told me to pick up this big leaf, and when I picked it up, it was actually a face mask. Because a lot of the African traditions of royalty they don't show their face, they have a mask behind it. So I carried the mask all the way back to the property with me. And when I got there, it told me to gift the mask to the big tree. And then when I gift the mask to the big tree, and Kaz took pictures of me, the tree told me, can I take the bracelet round to the queen tree, which is just opposite him? So I went round to the queen tree, which I was familiar with, because 5 o'clock in the morning, before 5 actually, but whatever, they had me stamping and doing rituals outside in front of these trees. So I'd already been partly initiated with several trees in there, and they showed me that they were human. The trees are actual living ancestors, yeah? Which was really beautiful. So I gifted her the bracelet that looked like it had rosebuds on it. And she says to me, can I go back and tell him thank you? So I walked back round the water to the big tree on the other side. She said thank you. He said, can you give her 5 of these little fruit nuts? So as I picked up the fruit nuts and carried them back, as I was passing the water bit where you can sit down and lounge, Gina says to me, do I know what those are? And I said, no. So she Googled it and showed me that they were really good for female hormones. Yeah, really good for women to take, eat it like a fruit. So she looked at mine and she said, no, these ones are bad, which I got them off the ground. And I said, it's an offering for the queen tree. So I laid down the offering on top of this little leaf that was there already. And I put where I had put the bracelet, and I laid the 5 nuts down. And the nuts I knew anyway from 2 days before when I did a ritual on the big tree, before I knew that the big tree was the king tree, yeah? I did a ritual on him, doof, doof, stamping, energy, stamp, doof, 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 pat, 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 doof, doof, you know, stamp, whatever. And I seen that these nut things that fall off his tree, or these fruit, they're like figs, they look like, have got like the Pythagoras sequence on there. You know, the sequence that you would see in a sunflower, how the patterns are mathematically laid out. The shells on these things have like an acorn mathematical pattern laid out on them. So Gina saw what I was doing, made my offerings, well, to each other, whatever. So I'd done my initiation that day. Anyway, we'd gone for a walk in the jungle, gone into the pool, as I said. All of those initiations happened. We're on St. Pedro, remember. So later on in the day, Kaz comes to me to say that she's been bit by a spider. Her arm's quite badly swollen. She's going to the hospital with Jim. So I'm like, oh my God. All right, so keep us informed. Let us know how you're getting on. Didn't know she's been bitten. We didn't know what it was. Let us know what's going on. I'm still vibing on the medication. All right, at this point, I'm okay. Worried about Kaz, but I'm okay. Checking on Marco too, because he's had a lot more. But a lot of the time, I've just been videoing. So I've been doing like a 2-hour video, over 2 hours, I think it is, about how the medicine was making me feel and how it had put me into tantric energy. So it was just all this sensual, sexual, orgasmic energy just coming, and I was just explaining what that was all about and how it felt and the impact and implications. So later on in the evening, they're talking about Caroline, but I'm on the other side. But I just get this feeling, this empathetic feeling that she needs some help, or she's not okay, or she's lonely, or she's sad, or there's something. So I go over to Stacey, the practitioner, the trainer, and Jim, the guy who owns the centre, and I state that I'm worried about her and should somebody not have been her. So the two of them kind of snapped back and said, no, actually, she's in the best place she can be, and she's in safe hands, she's in the hospital. And I was like, all right then, fair enough then. So I started to write her a message about, I'm worried about you, but quite rightly so, Jim and Stacey has said to me that you're in the hospital and you're in safe hands, but I'm sending you lots of love and positive energy, okay? So she texts back and said, they are absolutely right, I am in the best place. Thank you very much for the love, and I will see you later type of thing. So then I says to Jim, what about her painting stuff? Because I'd already packed up my painting stuff, and I just organised her painting stuff on the table outside. So I said, Jim, what about her painting stuff? And Jim was like, you're absolutely right. That was one of the things she asked me to make sure I got sorted out when I got back, and you've just reminded me. I said, no problem. I'll go outside and I'll get her stuff. I went outside. I picked up all her stuff. There was ants and everything all over the place, but where we paint, there is an ant nest, and the ants have always been absolutely fine. But when I was walking back, something bit me. And when I sorted out all her paint stuff, I put them on the table and sat down. I said to Jim, something's just bit me. And Jim was like, most likely it's an ant. Give it a couple of hours and the pain should subside. Because he recalls when he got bit on the mouth by one of these fuckers. So he was just making humour of it, and I was too. But there was something about the pain, because I've got a very high pain threshold. Something about the pain that was just, do you know what I mean? It's got my nervous system rocking, making me know this is something. But when I was on the plane coming here, I'd had a situation where my ear wouldn't pop, and I was in a lot of pain, and spirit was like, surrender to the pain. And the pain was so intense, it was making my armpits sweat, my body sweat, my back sweat. It was making me shiver and quiver. I was like jerking from the level of pain. And spirit was like, surrender to the pain. And I had to level myself to flatline myself, to literally just be okay and put my body in a suspended state. And when I did that, the air in the ear just released so calmly, because I was expecting a big pop, and when it popped, I was expecting to be fucked. You know, I was expecting my ear to feel full, but it didn't. It just went whoosh. Just a light breeze came out my ear twice and just released the air pressure, no problem. And I was like, all right. Twice I had to do it, and twice my toes were curling up, trying to fucking alchemize this blood clot pain. Last night, the pain was on them levels there. I'm like, what the fuck? I also know that I'm on St. Pedro, meaning that the medicine is making me feel a particular way too. So I've been having certain sensations all over my body all day. You know what I mean? So it's masking some of the pain, but considering it's masking some of the pain, this pain's intense. So when I look down at my foot, because I'm putting Florida water, some kind of alcohol rub on it, I see Jim's 3 dogs around my foot, no bigger than that. And they're barking, all 3 of them at my toe. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Because that morning when I was painting at the table, the 3 of them sat under the table with me. So I knew that they had my back anyway. And I knew that Luna had my back, because in videos prior to this video, you hear me telling you how Luna come and sat with me when there was a snake outside in the night. Yeah? A snake which Stacy, Jim, and the shaman Manu, they all believe I called to the fucking doors of the ayahuasca building, the temple, or Maloki. Yeah? The ayahuasca Maloki. They believe that I called in that snake. Do I believe I called in that snake? Yeah, I do. I do believe that, not intentionally, but my energy brought in the snake, because all I was doing was working with Mother Snake. I went there dressed as a snake. I told Stacy that morning on video that I'm a snake. I am the ayahuasca snake. The snake that I've got is ayahuasca. And she said, I don't think so, but ask ayahuasca. I didn't need to ask ayahuasca. I mean, she told me anyway while I was in there, but I didn't need to ask her, because I know, you know what I'm saying? She's called grandmother. Gina told me she's represented by a snake. And once I seen that, I was like, okay, 2 had 2 make 4 in my world. You know what I mean? They don't just give me stuff and it's bullshit and fuckery. No, they give me stuff because it's the stuff. So this poisonous snake was on the deck. They were going to kill it, and apparently Philip told them, no, don't kill it. But anyway, it's a dangerous snake. It's the most benign poisonous snake, but it's still a poisonous snake, meaning it's not the most vicious, or it's not one of them ones that are going to just kill you instantly on the spot. It's only little, so it has to kind of gnarl at you and get its teeth in you a few times to have an effect on it. So by then, you can grab the snake and bust up, you know what I mean? So Jim was like, out of all the snakes he would want it to be, it would be that snake, or a snake like that, or that, you know, whatever. Let me not gonna get into it. So anyway, I've gone to the table, got her watercolours. On the way back, I've been bitten. I'm feeling some pain. I start to rub some alcohol on it. Jim says give it 2 hours. After 2-3 hours, I'm still in some pain, but I'm noticing I'm having other sensations. So I'm having sensations up my leg, and I'm also having sensations down my arm, and there's something going on here, but I haven't actually defined it because I'm trying to ignore it because I don't want to be too much of a hypochondriac with it. So, 4 hours later, we're still talking. Stacey's gone to bed, Jim's gone to bed, me and Eva are talking. And I'm like, Eva, I don't know what's going on. Jim said that this should kind of go away in a couple of hours, but it's been more than a couple of hours, and I am still feeling a particular way. So I said, all right. So all of a sudden, all the lights went out on the building, on the whole site. The generator had cut out, basically. It had run out of gas. So because that had happened, I got up and we started to make our way to our room. So Ava was pottering around and Spirit was like, no, go back to your room now. So I just walked ahead, yeah? When I walked ahead, at the Maloki, earlier on that day, my finger is really, really swollen. I've not done anything to it, it's just all coming from the foot, yeah? And it's quite itchy, actually. So when I was passing the Maloki, or the Maloka, I'd put a yellow bowl out there earlier, and Spirit had said to leave it there when I got out of the shower, and I'll take it back to me because before I go in my room, I like to swill off my feet in it. And I carried the bowl back there, got inside, sorted out what I needed to sort out, got on the bed, sorted out myself, whatever, put the bowl on the floor and put my foot in it. Put this foot first in to wash off my foot, and then I put this foot in there. So I was leaving it in the water. But all it was doing, my foot was just throbbing. The cold water was nice. But what I noticed is that the heat from my foot was actually warming the water. So when I put my finger in the water, you could feel that the water was warm. I thought, Spirit said, put your foot up on the bed. So I put my foot up on the bed and said, get the torch and have a look. When I had a look, a tick was in between my toes, latched onto me, feeding on me. But not only was it feeding on me, it was transferring something in me too. You know, so I pulled out the tick with my pair of tweezers and I put it on a bit of tissue and I took some pictures and I started to chat GPT it. There was no internet in my room, which means I had to go back out my room, walk all the way in the dark to the communal area so I could access the Wi-Fi. And when I did, ChatGPT started to ask me some significant questions about it because it's an Amazon tick, not your local tick from the UK. It's a completely different ball game. So they were saying like these symptoms would be bad. Can you answer yes or no to any of them? So it was yes, no, yes, yes, yes. You know what I mean? They said, okay, what about this? So I answered all of those questions and then it was a big X saying no. This is serious, this is quite high risk. Okay, what you need to do now is go and seek emergency medical attention. So I was like, all right then, that's fine. Because as long as I can do it through ChatGPT and be honest, and I've showed them pictures, of the tick, so they was able to identify the sort of tick it was, know what it is, and know what kind of bacteria or disease it can release in the body, and what the likely effects are. So it can lead to like rickets, and it can lead to like stiffness, it can lead to some limbic something. You know, Jim said if you get a red line, it can actually lead to death, but I didn't want to put anything extra in my mind. I just wanted to deal with what I knew ChatGPT was suggesting. I couldn't wake Jim up, or I couldn't wake Gina up, so I went down to the staff quarters, woke up Manus. He wasn't very impressed. Manus is the other shaman here. He lives on site. We both was trying to call Jim, no Jim. So then I had to go and wake up Stacey. It's about after 1 in the morning now. So she's quite disorientated waking up and said, I'm ever so sorry, Stacey, but this is an emergency. She said, no worries, I'll get my clothes on. While she was getting her clothes on, I walked back to my tambo, and packed a bag. Oh yeah, packed a bag and stuffed some stuff in there to go. And then went back. Daisy shouted Jim and Gina, they came down. Showed them the picture, showed them what ChatGPT had said to it. Jim said, we're not messing around, you've done the right thing. I'll go and get my stuff, we're going straight to the hospital. Gina was like, oh, very, very bad. Are you okay? Blah, 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 hugs, kisses. Stacey was like, hugs, kisses. I says, thank you to Manu. Me and Jim jumped in the car straight away. He put his foot down. It takes 45 minutes to get to the hospital. We got here in less than 30, I think, which was really lovely. On the drive to the hospital, he took the opportunity to put his 2 pence in. in terms of what he thought about me. So I do want to pause the story at the moment to tell you what Jim thought of me. Jim's a very upfront man. I respect him for that. But I'm also a very upfront woman. Yeah. And the difference between me and Jim is that I know how to use decorum and tact, whereas Jim has no tact. So because Jim has no tact, sometimes I want to give him his own medicine. But at the same time, he's a child. He's a child. Does that make sense? He's a child. Not only is he childish, he's a child. And not only that, he's my child. And when you're put in a position like what I'm in, you can't look at it like that, because you just have to know that people are terrified, people are scared. I'm doing these videos and I'm trying to do my best to try to really explain what's going on and blah, 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 blah. But unless you're actually in the shamanic, the occult, the esoteric, the witchcraft, the fucking high level of religion, the Masons, the Illuminati, unless you're actually vibing on high levels in those institutions, you're not going to recognize what you're looking at. You're not going to see what is in front of you. Yeah? So I appreciate that much. Jim, he is a healer. His wife is a seer. And Manas is a shaman. And so is Stacey. So between the four of them, they have been having consistent conversations about me. In the first couple of days, they were very scared. They didn't know. They knew, they said, oh, she's working voodoo. She's working voodoo. She's definitely a voodoo, but she's our voodoo high priestess. Assumptions. Yeah, assumptions. Hello. Am I going in there or stopping here?
Esto bastante.
No, in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So, Kaz has asked if we can just share one room because she's here. She was brought to the hospital already and now I'm at the hospital in the next room next to her. But she said, can we not just share one room so we can sit and chat? So they're going to move me into that room. So I want to try and get this video done straight away. So anyway, in the car driving to the hospital yesterday, Jim said, I'm really, really worried about you. I'm really very, very worried about you. I said, oh yeah. He said, yeah, because you are a very, very, very powerful woman. You are a very extremely powerful woman. And the reason why they know I'm a powerful woman is because they were doing things too. Yeah? They were trying to see and investigate into me. You know what I mean? Which really, they didn't ask for permission to do that. They just did that. Yeah? And they saw what they needed to see. Yeah? But at the first night, they did not see everything because they didn't know what was going on. But Jim just kept saying, can you stop the clicking? Can you stop the tapping? You're being so disrespectful to everybody else. I said, Jim, I'm not even aware that I'm doing it. But the minute you tell me that I'm doing it, I will stop it. But my ancestors are doing their thing. It's a form of communication and you're interrupting. You're interrupting and there is big things going on right now. Too big for you to comprehend. Too big for any one of you to comprehend, to be honest. Yeah? But his tone is very rude and aggressive. So you hear me do a video, tell you that I've gone, Jim, and he's ignored me. And I've gone, you know what? Fuck you. And I don't really talk to people like that. But clearly, my ancestors were just giving it because at the end of the day, I'm not your bitch. I'm not your fucking wife. Know your place. I said already, Stacey, he doesn't know me and he doesn't know my temperament. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that he can't be upset. But you don't want me to be upset. That's the point. You being upset is one thing. Me being upset is something completely different. Yeah? So, I can see that they're up to